hey gang, how are you doing? Jonathan here for Tailhunter Sportfishing, and it's time once again for the Mexican Minute La Paz video fishing report, coming to you from La Paz, Baja, Mexico, and covering all of the fishing action for our Tailhunter Sportfishing fleet for the dates of the 20th of September through the 27th of September 2023. Wherever you are, I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for checking in. Thanks for spending time with us. And if you like what we're doing, you've been watching our reports, please do us a big favor, give us a thumbs up, a like, and don't forget to subscribe. Well, this is another one of those weeks where I could say, listen, just fast forward and look at our fishing gallery. Again, I've got an extended, huge fishing gallery this week, and that's going to tell you pretty much the whole story. Yes, the Dorado are still biting. They didn't bite as well as they have been. We've had an incredible Dorado season this year. As I've mentioned so many times, I've never seen, in the 30 years we've been down here, I've never seen so many Dorado, and I've never seen so many big Dorado as we've had in this 2024. It's been incredible. The last week or two, not so many Dorado, and that could be a function of several things. Number one, maybe the Dorado are moving out, but I tend to think that it's because if you look at the photos, you're going to see a lot more tuna. Hey, for the first time in, maybe 4 years, we actually have a tuna season going on that's lasted more than a day or two. These tuna have been around for about 2 weeks or so. They started out with some nice football-sized 10, 12-pounders, and with each progressive week, I think they've just gotten a little bit bigger. Last week, they were the 25, 30-pound class. This week, not as many tuna. But the ones we're catching are 30 to, we've gotten some 80-pound fish this week. And from what I'm understanding, some of the fish that we've lost have been in the 100-pound class. I know a couple of the captains have told me that they saw some fish rolling in the chum lines that had to be over 100 pounds. Now, if you've never caught a tuna before, these fish will hurt you. I'm not going to kid you. In my opinion, I think that the strongest fish in the ocean, it's a mussel. It's a mussel that has no swim bladder. They're capable of 50-mile-an-hour bursts, and because they don't have a swim bladder, they can go straight down at incredible speeds, empty your reel, and you're going to be pulling for a long time. Some of these fish, 20, 30 minutes. We've heard of other fish that we had this week that were actually caught 2 or more hours fighting these fish. So everybody wants a tuna until they actually have one on the line and the sun's beating down on you and your line's going bing, 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 and it's ready to break and your rod's bending and your fingers are shaking and your arms are shaking and you're starting to get cramps. That is battling a tuna. On top of it, we've got a lot of huge bonita, so for every tuna that you see in the fishing reports, there's probably 5 or 6 bonita that have been caught, and these are horse bonita. I'm talking 8 to 12-pound fish that, in my opinion, pound for pound are even stronger than the tuna. If they ever make a 20 or 30-pound bonita, I think it's just going to destroy us because there's a lot of them out there, and they are wearing people out before they even get a hold of a tuna. So there aren't as many tuna out there, but the ones we're getting are larger. And here's the other thing with the tuna. I think because so many folks are chasing the tuna, there's not as much focus on the Dorado. The Dorado are still there. It's just that not as many folks are chasing the Dorado because everybody wants a tuna. Not everyone's going to get a tuna. I'll tell you that right off the bat. Bait is getting a little harder to get right now because we've had some current issues and there's been some wave action and there's just been fewer sardines to use. But the nice thing about it, the tuna do like dead bait. You throw some of that in and it's what we call chunking. Just let that drift, and one of those baits has got a hook in it, and if that bait starts moving, hey, dead bait doesn't swim. If your line starts spinning off and you know you've got a dead bait on the hook, you know you've got a tuna on there. Set the gear, set the brake, pull hard, and you're in for a fight. The other thing about these tuna, it's an early bite. So one thing is, they're over at Las Arenas. The bait, you have to run over to the other side of Cerralvo Island. It's a little bit of a run to get the bait. Then you have to run back to where the tuna spot is. So it's a little bit of a run. The tuna are normally going to bite in the morning. If you're late or you miss that bite or you're tied up because you're catching bonita, that's just part of the fishing right now. And like I said, there are fewer tuna right now, but the ones we're hooking are horses and they will beat you up. So that's what's going on right now. There are still some big Dorado around. We've got some 30, 40, maybe even some 50-pounders this week. There's still a lot of schoolie Dorado. If you want to just spend the day catching Dorado, fish with our La Paz fleet because we're still catching limits very, very early. Some of the boats are coming back by 9, 10 o'clock saying we've caught all we need. We've tossed back everything else. We caught a few other species and it's time to come back in. If you're really looking for Dorado action, you want to fish with our La Paz fleet. If you're looking for tuna action, mixed in with a little Dorado and some other species, then you want to fish with our Las Arenas fleet. A couple of other surprises, more and more sailfish showing up. We haven't had any really a billfish bite all season, but this past week a couple of striped marlin and more sailfish are biting. And these are big sailfish. Just like the Dorado, I've never seen so many big sailfish as we've gotten in the past week or so. Normally sailfish here, 80, 90 pounds, maybe big ones 100. The sailfish we've seen in the last couple of weeks have been well over the 100-pound class, 120s, 130s. They're just a bigger grade of fish right now, and fortunately most of those are getting released. The couple that did not, we didn't have the opportunity to release, the anglers very generously donated the meat. The other thing, still seeing some of those, I don't know why they're here. They normally are not here, but we're still seeing some very nice roosterfish, the 30 to 50 pound class being caught. Not a lot of them, but they're normally not here. Normally our roosterfish season is going to be in the springtime. That's April, May, June. This time of year we normally just get the 5 and 10 pounders, so I don't know where these 40, 50, 60 pounders are coming from, but no one's complaining. Those are here. We're still getting some Pargo, Cabria, some Pompano and Trevally are showing up, which are cooler water fish, which I need to tell you about this. I think maybe the season is changing a little bit earlier than normal. I got to think about that. It's the next couple of weeks are going to tell, but normally the season doesn't change till about early November, late October. It looks like it might be changing sooner than normal. Waters apparently are getting a little colder. There's some patches of colder water. We're catching some cooler water species like the Trevally, like the Pompano, like some of the amberjack that we normally do not see until springtime. So maybe the waters are cooling, things are going to change. I don't know. We are getting some northern winds that we normally don't get until November. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that. In the meantime, everybody's catching fish. Take a look at the fishing gallery. It's a great gallery once again. A lot of good fish to check out. Tuna, Dorado, even some wahoo, roosterfish, and sailfish to look at this week. I'm Jonathan for the Mexican Minute. That's going to be a quick wrap up for you. You take care. Thanks for checking in. God bless, and we'll catch you next week on the Mexican Minute.